All right, so today, strawberry shortcake day. Baking is definitely not my strong suit, but something that relatively enjoy doing, especially with the little guys, even no matter how shy they are. So strawberry shortcake today. Just about coming into strawberry season right now. So the strawberries in the store right now are looking pretty good. 200 little seeds on the outside of these strawberries. The only fruit that has the seed on the outside of the berry. Something to keep in mind with these, all right, so we're going to macerate the berries, which is a fancy word for coating in some sugar and a little bit of an acid, so they start to release the kind of natural juices, okay? Now, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll take their sharp knife or paring knife and top the whole top of the berry off. Does it work? Yes, but you also lose a lot of the fruit, all right? As we're in kind of, coming into prime berry season, there's a lot of stuff up top here, so all you need to do is pull the greens off, all right? And then we've got a star tip pastry tip here. We can do the same thing like we do with tomatoes. Instead of going out and spending $10 on a tomato shark to take the core out of the top of the tomatoes, a 60-cent star pastry tip will do the same thing, where if you put it in and twist, all right, it removes the core right out of the strawberry, all right. So from there, we'll just slice it into eighths, all right. And into a bowl it goes. Magic of television. We've got a pound here already done. To this, we'll add about 2 tablespoons of just regular granulated sugar. All right, and some kind of acid. All right, lemon juice works great, but we're gonna do a little bit different today. Believe it or not, a really nice balsamic vinegar works really well with the strawberries. All right, so about, I'd say a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half of balsamic vinegar. We'll add those. A little tossy toss. All right, and we're going to put these in the fridge for about an hour. What that sugar is going to do is start pulling out a lot of the strawberry juices and get them ready to roll. We'll get those in the fridge, and then we're going to start to make our biscuit. All right, so Julian has his juice. He's ready to roll now. In baking, all right, or specifically with quick breads, all right, so non-yeast leaven breads. There's 3 different mixing methods we use. Creaming method, muffin method, and the biscuit method. Yes, we'll get you some more juice. Muffin method is the easiest one. All right, that's when you have a bowl of your wet and dry ingredients and a bowl of your dry ingredients, and you mix the 2 together. All right. Creaming method, very popular with chocolate chip cookies. So the first step of the method is taking your fat and your sugar and spinning them together with a paddle attachment to cream the 2 of them together. All right, that sugar carves into the air pocket into the butter, and that's kind of loving your finished product. Method we're going to use today called the biscuit method, or also known as the cut-in method. Multiple different ways you can execute it, but the end result is the same. And what we're looking to do is to create little layers of fat inside of the dough, which as it cooks creates little pockets and creates your flaky crust or your flaky biscuits. All right, 3 different tools you can use. All right, one is a fork, all right, to break the fat up. Second is a pastry blender, so it kind of looks like a little set of brass knuckles, all right, to cut the fat into the flour. And the last you can do is kind of the easy method in using a food processor. Yes, I have a pink food processor. I'll pause for a second to let you laugh, but it works wonders, all right. So first thing we need to do is to sift together our dry ingredients. All right, so we've got a little strainer here. 4 cups of all-purpose flour. All right. 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. All right. And 3/4 cup of sugar. All right. Leaveners when it comes to baked goods. All right. 3 classifications. All right. Biological, chemical, and mechanical. All right. Biological is your yeast leaven bread, so yeast, biological product. The yeast is a living organism. Eats sugars. All right, the result of that is alcohol and carbon dioxide. It causes the dough to rise. All right. Chemical leaveners, baking soda, baking powder. All right, so there are some chemical leaveners in here. All right. And the last is mechanical. Doesn't really think what you would think, but mechanical essentially translates to steam. We'll press it in a second, okay, bud? Mechanical is steam, so we're going to use a lot of mechanical leavener with your.
About the after put the things in it.
Absolutely. So mechanical steam. Your pie crust biscuits use primarily the mechanical leavening agent. by having these little pockets of butter, creates a spot for, as it heats up, the butter melts and creates a pocket for steam to expand and cause the rising of your pie crust or your biscuit. All right. So in here, we're going to sift together these ingredients. 3 purposes of sifting. All right. 1 is to break up any clumps. Okay. 2 is to thoroughly mix the ingredients. And 3 is we're incorporating some air. So the volume of this is just increased because we've incorporated some air to the sifting process. All right. If you don't have a sifter or a fine mesh sieve like that, you can use a whisk. All right. To whisk the dry ingredients together to again break up the clumps, make sure it's well mixed, and incorporate some air. All right. So those are our dry ingredients. So also inside of this bowl was a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I don't think I mentioned that before, but that's in here ready to go. All right, liquid ingredients. 1 cup of buttermilk and a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. If you don't have buttermilk, all right, buttermilk can get expensive and has a relatively short shelf life. All right, so if you're not using a lot of it or not going to go through it, it doesn't really make sense. We're going to do some buttermilk fried chicken later this week, so I kind of justify the cost of buying it. But if you don't have it in your house, relatively easy to make a substitution. All right, you take a tablespoon of some kind of acid, either lemon juice or vinegar, into the bottom of your liquid measuring cup, and then add just regular whole milk until you get to the 1 cup mark. Whisk it together, set it aside for 15 minutes or so, and you'll get essentially the same thing. Not quite, it's not a perfect substitution, but in most cases it'll work out just fine. But today, since this week we have 2 buttermilk recipes on our agenda, it makes sense for us, so we got the legit stuff in here. All right. To that, we're also going to add 1 egg. All right. So again, we talked about it before. If a recipe doesn't specify what size egg you're using, it means 1 large egg. Yeah, you want to mix it? All right. So just to reiterate, buttermilk, heavy cream, and 1 large egg. Great job, bud. All right. Good. You mixed?
Yeah.
All right. Rock and roll. All right. So on to our food processor. Okay. Yes, it's pink. We talked about it. Get over it. All right. Into the bottom of this, we'll add our dry ingredients. So again, there's sugar, there's flour, baking soda, baking powder, which are what? Chemical leaveners. Okay. Into the bottom of our bowl here. All right.
Cover on?
Yes, we're going to put the cover on next. All right.
Which one?
We'll press this button. So the pulse button, just to make sure it all gets mixed together. Good job, bud. All right. The next thing we'll do is add our butter to it. All right. The goal of this purpose is to cut the butter in. All right. To get kind of like pea-sized portions of butter.
I'm going to mix that up.
Absolutely. What's going to happen is as these biscuits bake, that butter is going to melt and create a little pocket for the steam to expand and give us some height to our biscuits. All right. So we'll add our butter. And again, pulsing, because we don't want to overmix it, all right? We just want to break the butter up and cutting that butter in, all right? You can do it by hand. Good job. Some recipes say you can use your thumb and forefinger, but the problem that I see with that is especially like me, your body temperature is relatively high, so when you're doing that, you're melting the butter, and that's not what you want. You're trying to cut the butter up and create little pockets. If you're melting the butter, it defeats the purpose. All right, so we're going to keep pulsing. All right, good job, bud. Keep going. Yep, you're doing a great job. Keep going. Until the mixture is kind of pea-sized pieces, or resembles kind of a cornmeal. All right, well, keep pulsing. Good job. Keep going.
I want to keep it.
Alright. And looking for the final product to kind of resemble cornmeal in small little pea-sized pieces. Now, cut into the dry ingredients, and now we have to add our liquid. Right. Just to reiterate what's in here, a cup of buttermilk, 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and 1 whole egg. Alright, so that we will add it to the top of through the top of our mixer. And mix this only to combine. Form a really loose dough. That's it. All right, so the dough's come together, and we just kneaded it, like I said, 3 or 4 times, just to get it to really, form some structure. We're not looking to knead it like we're trying to, make a yeast leavened bread, just enough to bring the dough together. From here, we'll lightly flour our work surface, as well as the top of the dough in a rolling pin. I'm not going too aggressive with the flour because if you put too much on there, it's going to get absorbed into the dough and you get a tougher biscuit. All right. Most important thing when using a rolling pin, whether it's biscuits or pie dough, what have you, is when you're rolling out, you're going to the edge, but not all the way across. All right. When you go up to the edge, you're going to maintain a nice, square edge to it. If you go all the way across, what that does is it creates a tapered edge. So the biscuits on the outside aren't going to be even thickness. All right. They're not going to cook evenly, and nobody wants that. All right. So just going up to the back or to the edge and back. All right. Till it's about 1 inch thick. The oven behind me is preheated to 400. All right. Once they go in, they'll probably take about 15 minutes. All right. So again, to the edge, but not all the way across it. So we're about 1 inch thick. All right. To the right of my dough, I'm going to create a little pile of flour and a ring cutter. All right. A lot of people say the kitchen hack is to use, the top of a water glass or wine glass to cut their biscuits. The problem with that is the edges aren't sharp, obviously. Otherwise, you cut yourself when you're drinking your water. So what that does is it can kind of crimp the edges of the biscuit together, and it's not going to rise evenly because the edge is going to be kind of, pinched shut. So by using a cookie cutter or ring cutter, it's got a sharper edge, so you're actually going to cut through the dough. So that it still has, when that steam is expanding, that mechanical leavening is happening. It's going to allow that to happen. All right, so we'll go all the way around the outside. All right, and what I'll do is I will take this dough and I'll re-roll it once. I'll keep those biscuits separate. So what's going to happen is it's going to be a little bit tougher just because the gluten's getting worked a little bit more than usual. And these would be my staff meal or my Scooby snacks at the end of the day. These onto a parchment lined sheet pan. The biscuits are all rolled out. They're cut. These 3 are the ones from that kind of leftover scraps from the first go. So it's perfect. 2 for me and one for Julia. All right. Let's paint this one first.
Oh, no, one himself in the paper on me.
Alright, good job. Alright,
Oh,
so just a very light egg wash over the top of the biscuits, okay?
good.
Can you do this one? And then we got a 400-degree oven behind us ready to go. Alright, probably going to take about 15 or 20 minutes. Alright, looking for the top to be nice and golden brown, for the bottom to be nice and golden brown as well. And then we'll be in good shape. Alright, our berries are still macerating, so the next step is to make whipped cream that goes with it. All right, so while these are baking, we'll go ahead and make that whipped cream. Ready? See you in a bit.
See you with it. See you with it.
All right. So in school, one of our themes is to always do something the hard way first so we can appreciate the easy way, all right? Whipped cream is one of those things that I always think is best to do it the hard way, which is by hand, all right? So with the biscuit dough we just made, typically in class I would make you do it by hand first, using the pastry blender or forks or whatever. Go through the effort of making it, and you can appreciate the mechanical part of it using the food processor. Whipped cream, I feel like when you do it by hand, it just has a totally different texture and mouthfeel than when you use a, whether it's the KitchenAid or a hand mixer. I feel like the end result is just totally different. So in this bowl, a chilled bowl, all right, so I pop this bowl and the whisk in the freezer for about 15 minutes, and just some straight heavy cream. Obviously a lot more space, or a bowl much larger than what we think we need, all right? The reason being is obviously when we whip this, we're going to incorporating air and expand. But to make our life easier, you want the space because when you agitate the bowl, you're looking to agitate that cream and adding the air into it. If the bowl is filled with cream and you're kind of whisking back and forth like that, not much of action is really happening to it, so you're going to be whisking for a while. Or if you use a larger bowl, you can get some more whips to it, or larger whips to it, and it's going to incorporate the air quicker and get to the final result faster. The way I like to do it is tip the bowl onto one side, all right, and then side to side with the whisk, until we incorporate the amount of air that we want. Number one problem that we see, especially with high school students or kids straight out of culinary school, is overworking or over whipping the cream. All right, it shouldn't be. We don't want stiff peaks. All right, so we'll kind of show you where we go there. Just side to side. All right. And by chilling the bowl and chilling the whisk, it happens over. You kind of speed up the process. All right, so we're already starting to form kind of soft peaks. All right, and that was what, 10 seconds. All right. Once we get those kind of soft peaks, what we can do is we'll add our vanilla extract. All right, so not a whole lot, maybe a teaspoon. All right, a whisk to incorporate that. And then our sweetener. All right, so confectioner sugar, also known as 10x sugar. All right, we'll add some of that. Soft peaks, a little taste. I think we're good there. We got to keep in mind that those strawberries, they're coated in the sugar. They've got the acid on there. The biscuit themselves are relatively sweet, so we don't need a super sweet whipped cream to go on top of them. Otherwise, it's going to be too much sugar in your face. So this is good to go. We'll put this in the fridge until we're ready to plate, and we'll go from there. All right, so our biscuits are done. Now it's just time to kind of bring it all together. All right, so we've got our biscuit. We sliced in half. All right. What we'll do is to make sure it doesn't slip around on your plate as your server's taking it out to the table, is we'll take a little bit of that whipped cream right in the center of the plate. It'll act as kind of a glue. All right. We'll put the bottom half of our biscuit on top of that. Here are our strawberries. All right. So if you can see on the bottom here, all those juices that are starting to come through. All right. Oh. All right. So we'll put some of our strawberries onto our biscuit. And then we'll get some of that juice. We'll drizzle that over the top as well. Say juice? Juice. All right. Now the fun part. Time to get a little artsy. All right. As long as my sous chef here agrees. All right. We'll get our whipped cream. All right. Nice and soft. All right. How can we make this look fancy without going the the traditional route of the star tip that's kind of piped onto the plate? Large spoon, some hot water. All right. We'll make a quenelle. Whipped cream. All right. We've got our top of the biscuit. Now, most people are going to take a sprig of fresh mint and be like, "Oh yeah, cool, we're there to go." No. We talked in the last class about the garnish and their functionality. All right, this is garbage. All right, what's the guest going to do with that mint when it's on top of the plate? So, mint plays an important part in the dish, but how can we incorporate it in a way that they can actually eat it? Well, one, you can chiffonade it, of course, or we can go the molecular gastronomy route. All right, so in the first video lesson we used agar to make a balsamic pearl. This time we're going the route with sodium alginate and calcium chloride. So a mint simple syrup mixed with a little bit of green food coloring is our calcium chloride bath. All right, so just water and some calcium chloride, which you can get right off of Amazon or Best Chef, all those kind of places. Syringe with our mint solution in here. All right, and then we're going to drop little pearls to the calcium chloride bath, and what that's going to do, now we're going, is going to create little spheres, which looks almost like caviar. We'll let this sit in the calcium chloride bath for about 10 to 15 seconds. The calcium chloride can be really salty, so it's very important that we rinse them. So in this bowl back here, we've got a strainer with just some regular tap water to rinse these pearls off. All right, so we'll rinse off the pearls and just that straight water solution. And then what the final result looks like. It's what resembles some kind of caviar pearls. All right. So we'll take this mint caviar, pile that up on top of our strawberry shortcake. We'll be good to go. What is that? Alright, so make sure we get some biscuit, some strawberry, whipped cream, some caviar. What do you think? Good stuff? Yes? Yeah? You say yum?
Yeah.
Thumbs up? Alright guys.